Now that all the panels for the pack are prepared, we can sew them together. The first stage is making the smaller front compartment. Start with the top, side, and bottom panels for the small compartment on the front of the pack. With the right sides of the fabric facing up, take the top panel and flip it over and onto one of the side panels. Align the ends and pin them together. Open those with the right side facing up. Take the other side panel and flip it over onto the other end of the top panel and pin in place. Open those with the right side up. Flip the bottom panel and pin it to the end of the side panels. All the panels need to be sewn with the right side of the fabric facing each other. We are basically making the pack inside out, and when completed, the surface of the fabric that you want to be seen will be on the outside. You should end up with all the panel pieces facing right side in. Sew all the seams. Skip across the zipper teeth if you need to. After sewing a straight stitch, I put a wide zigzag stitch on the seam edges to reinforce and prevent the fabric edges from fraying. The ends of the seams need to be free by whatever seam allowance you are using. In my case, this is 1/4 of an inch. I cut my stitches at the corners just enough to allow them to separate this distance. With the pack's large front panel right side up, I place the top panel right side down and line it up with the seam mark. Making sure the edges are even, pin it in place. Then sew. I make another pass for strength. With the right sides facing up, pin the side and bottom panels in place. Align the edges as you go. Pay careful attention to those small angles. it should end up like this. Start at one end and sew the perimeter. Now is a good time to make sure the zipper is open. Remember, we are building this inside out, so if the zipper is closed when you're done sewing, you might end up saying things like, "From hell, heart, I summon thee." Turn it inside out. Make sure that the top portion of the large panel is folded inside the small section. Take the small front panel, place it right side down, and make certain the top and bottom are oriented correctly. With the webbing of the small front panel poking out through the seam, pin it in place. Sew the entire perimeter with a straight stitch, then make a zigzag stitch around the edge. Now turn that inside out, or maybe I should say right side out. Now we can assemble the main compartment. Like before, the top and side panels are sewn together. The bottom panel is left off. It will be the last panel we sew on the pack. A center line is needed on the top panel. Align the center lines, pin in place, and sew the top edge. The tricky part now is the corners. Many people cut a small notch in the seam allowance to let the fabric turn the corner. But I prefer to simply turn the fabric and fold the corner. Pin the sides in place from the top down, allowing the webbing to stick out through the seams. Sew the sides and finish the edges with a zigzag. Make sure the zipper is open or you'll end up saying,
"From hell's heart I stab at thee!"
The back panel has 4 straps that we don't want to sew. Pin the top vertical and the bottom horizontal straps out of the way and turn the D-rings toward the center. Draw a center mark at the top. With the right side facing down and starting at the center mark, pin it in place. Sew it and finish with a zigzag. If you end up with a little excess side panel hanging down, cut it even to the panel. Now for the piece we were looking for, that being the last one. With the right side on the bottom panel facing in, pin the 2 long edges first. Sew them in place. Next, neatly fold the corners of the short ends like the bottom of a paper bag, pin in place, and sew. Finally, finish the perimeter with a zigzag stitch. If you didn't make sure the zipper was open, at this point you will say,
"From hell's heart I stab at thee. For hate's sake I spit my last breath at thee."
I like to have a place to put important things like my wallet, keys, or map so that they are easy to get to and don't get lost in the pack. I add in a small pouch for this purpose. I make it with 2 rectangular pieces of stretch fabric and a zipper. Then attach it to the top seam inside the pack. The purpose of the D-rings on the front and back is for the addition of some compression straps. I don't sew them. By not being permanently attached, they can be taken off if need be. Weave a measuring tape from the bottom front D-ring up through the others, ending at the top back D-ring. Loop the end of the tape onto itself about 3 inches. Extend the tape past the ladder lock on the bottom back several inches, and note the length. Grab your webbing and cut those lengths. Don't forget to melt the ends to keep them from fraying. Take a tri-glide and slip it onto the strap 3 inches from the end. Take those ends, loop them through the top back D-rings, and feed the end through the tri-glide. Weave the rest of the strap back and forth through the D-rings. The bottom back strap needs to be fed back through the ladder lock. This is the strap that was sewn on. Then the compression strap is fed through the ladder lock. You are probably wondering about strap padding. You can attach some on the shoulder straps if you want just a regular backpack, but since I'm making a separate load carrier, I will be putting on the attachment buckles only. For this I need 2 side release buckles and 2 tri-glides. Slide a tri-glide on the top strap all the way to the pack. Then slide on the female side of the buckle and feed the strap back through the tri-glide. On the bottom straps, slide on the adjustable male ends. Do not cut any excess strapping.